Welcome everyone. This video is about question 40 of ICAP question bank. We will solve this question in accordance with latest tax law for tax year 2023. To get maximum benefit, please keep along your question book, your notes files and your notebook. And of course, your calculator. Please read the question carefully. You can pause video to read it. Please note that the taxpayer in this question is an individual. Mr. Akmal. Have a look at requirement of question. You are required to compute two items: taxable income and tax liability. Mr. Akmal has purchased 4 similar flats on top floor of an apartment block. Let's first make a template for our solution. So we have 4 flats, which are similar. Computation of income from property requires to compute 2 figures. One is rent chargeable to tax. Second is allowable expenses. List of expenses has been mentioned in section 15A. Rent chargeable to tax is sum of 3 figures. Rent income on accrual basis. Forfeited deposits and unadjustable advance. Expense mentioned in question is just property tax, which is allowed as expense. In case of building, a repair allowance equal to 1/5 of rent chargeable to tax is also allowed as expense. Let's move back to question. 2 flats were rented out at fair market rent of Rs 25,000 per month. In our solution, we will multiply Rs 25,000 with 12 to get annual rent. Annual rent of each flat comes to Rs 300,000. Next information is about security deposit of Rs 200,000 for each of these 2 flats. This is also called unadjustable advance. Recall notes slide. 1/10 of advance will be treated as rent in current year. Move back to your solution. Divide 200,000 by 10. Rs 20,000 will be included in rent chargeable to tax. Next information is about third flat, which Mr. Akmal tried to sell. He received a token money or Rs 100,000. But the buyer failed to make the payment on due date. Consequently, Mr. Akmal forfeited the token money. Recall notes slide for definition of rent. Forfeited deposit on contract for sale of building is included in definition of rent. Move back to your solution. Mention Rs 100,000 as forfeited deposit. Next information is about renting the third flat. Mr. Akmal rented it to his cousin at monthly rent of Rs 15,000. Recall notes slide. Actual rent or fair market rent will be compared and higher amount will be treated as rent. Since all 4 flats are similar. The question tells us about fair market rent of flats also, which is Rs 25,000. So the higher amount will be treated as rent. Mention it in your solution. Compare 25,000 with 15,000. Higher amount is 25,000. Multiply it with 11. Because this flat was rented from 1st of August. Rs 275,000 will be treated as rent. Next information is about security deposit of third flat, which is Rs 50,000. There is no need to compare it with security deposit of first 2 flats. Tax law does not require such comparison in case of security deposit. So in our solution, we will divide Rs 50,000 by 10 to get 1/10 amount. Rs 5,000 will be treated as unadjustable advance. Next information is about fourth flat, which has been used for residential purposes. Therefore, no income is generated by this flat. Nothing should be mentioned for flat 4. Let's make totals. For each property, make separate totals. Next information is about property tax. For each flat, Rs 20,000 has been paid as property tax. No other expense has been mentioned in question. Let's mention it in our solution. Rs 20,000 is an allowable expense for each of 3 flats. Now work out repair allowance for each of the flats. Working of expenses is complete now. Let's make totals. Deduct allowable expenses from rent chargeable to tax. Property income comes to Rs 756,000. Let's call it working 1. Use result of this working in your main answer format. Also mention working reference for convenience of examiner. Taxable income comes to Rs 756,000. Now we need a rate of tax. This is a non-salaried person and tax rates are always given in exam. There is no need to memorize these tables. Second slab is applicable here. Use this slab to make your tax calculation. Tax imposed comes to Rs 7,800. Tax demand is also Rs 7,800. Congratulations! You did it! Your answer is complete now. You can ask your questions in comments section. See you all in our next video.